What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about some of the funniest questions that people have ever asked about Canada. As an American, I'm here to say that we do not know everything about Canada. Not even close, actually. So, some of the questions that us Americans ask about Canada might come across as a little silly or obvious to Canadians, that is, but I assure you, we do not know a lot of this stuff, actually. So today, I thought it would be kind of fun to take a look at this question that a lot of Canadians have answered. What is the funniest question a foreigner has ever asked you about Canada and actually been completely serious, absolutely sincere, and about this question that might seem completely obvious to Canadians, I imagine. But for those of us living outside of Canada, we don't know a lot of these things. So let's take a look at some of the funniest questions people have asked about Canada, starting with, I was living abroad and we'd had some uncharacteristic snow. I'd gone into work as normal, but a lot of people didn't. Partway through the day, it was announced that all public transit would be shutting down early, so businesses, schools were ending early to allow people to go home. A colleague, who I knew was Canadian, asked me very seriously how business functioned and how people got a decent education in Canada if we had to shut down every time that it snowed. Because wouldn't everything just be closed for half the year? How do people make money? This is immediately very funny to me because I'm being 100% serious when I say that most Americans, or at least many Americans, they should actually do a poll on this or a study. Many Americans believe Canada is like snow all the time. Like all of Canada is cold and in the snow the entire year. I know that sounds silly, but I don't know where we went wrong. But this is definitely true for us Americans. I can't speak for the rest of the world. Maybe they're a little more savvy than us. But so many Americans think that Canada always has snow, always cold, the entire year. And now I know that's not even close to the truth. Some parts of Canada are colder than others, and the winter is more intense in Canada, but Canadians are actually not living in a permanent igloo, frozen tundra everywhere in Canada all year long. Simply not the case. And I feel like that kind of explains where this question is coming from. They really believed that for half of the year, we shut down everything. Exactly, like the fact that they were willing to even believe this. See, at least this is kind of embarrassing, but I probably thought, okay, Canadians are living in the snow and cold all the time. They've probably adapted. They probably, are used to it and can get to work and go to school and just deal with it. This person thinks that Canadians just shut down the entire economy and Canada just goes into hibernation for half the year. You really can't make this stuff up. When I told them that we clear the snow and life continues as usual, you might have the odd snow day here and there, but for the most part, we go on. They were shocked and asked me how it was possible we could drive in the snow. What? Well, whoever this is, maybe they come from a culture that doesn't have snow. In America, at least we have snow a little bit. Not much this year. At least in the past. In the ancient history books, we have snow and we drive through it, so I know it's possible. LOL, I'm in Alberta, and even if it's -40 and a blizzarding, most people still go to school and work. I have never witnessed a snow day here. That's man, that's unfortunate because that's kind of a drawback of living in Canada. Canadians are just better at dealing with snow and cold and ignoring it and making sure life can go on. And in America, snow is more rare in a lot of parts of America anyway, especially the more south you get, that when snow happens here, we flip out. We freak out. We're running in circles. We don't know what to do. Like, school is canceled. Work is canceled. Everyone is like, don't even take a step outside or you'll slip and do 3 somersaults and land on your head or something. We are very scared of the snow. And it's kind of nice in a way because it shuts down a lot of stuff. But in a way, that's also bad, huh? Canadians would definitely laugh at some of the snow day protocols we have in the United States, for sure. Let's keep going. What are some other funny questions people have asked about Canada? When we lived in Montreal, my British grandfather visited and thought he'd pop over to Saskatchewan the next day to visit friends. Why is this silly? Oh no, I'm showing my Americanness here. It's being revealed. Why is this so funny? Because it's Montreal, and he thought he'd pop over to Saskatchewan. I think I get what the confusion is here. I think they're saying it would be very silly to think you can just go from Montreal to Saskatchewan the next day to visit your friends. On the map, like, it doesn't necessarily look that far on the map, like from Montreal, Quebec to Saskatchewan. But I think in reality, that is an enormous distance. Like an absurd amount of distance to think that you could just pop over to your friends. It'd probably take like, how long would that take? Like a few days or something? I know in general, Americans, like, we definitely just underestimate how freaking gigantic Canada is. We should actually know better because the United States is like pretty gigantic. And I bet you a lot of Europeans and people around the world make the same mistake, not really acknowledging or understanding how freaking big Canada is. Because I picture the provinces to be like the size of a state in the United States. But that's not true. That's not accurate. There's only like 10 provinces, 3 territories. I hope. There's only 10 provinces, yet it's the span of the United States. So each province must be like 5 times the size of a state. It's like 5 states put together, which is that's gigantic. So I have to think of it more like that in my mind to get a better grasp of how long it would take to travel across several provinces, Montreal to Saskatchewan. This is probably very funny, and again, this is probably so funny and obvious to Canadians, but to a lot of us, it's not obvious. I actually just have to stop and think about it. I remember in the 90s, some guy from Europe hijacked a Greyhound bus in Quebec and demanded that they drive him to Vancouver. Okay, Quebec to Vancouver? Now, even I understand how ridiculous that is. I have to do some gas station stops there. After something like 6 hours on the road, he was getting frustrated and accused the driver of going in circles. This poor driver, he actually was going to do it. He's like, okay, do we get to stop to like sleep and eat if we're driving across the entire country? Bus driver, I demand you drive me across the whole continent. No stopping for gas. Exactly what I was thinking. Okay, what are some other funny questions people have asked about Canada? He says, do you love your Canada geese? And me, no. Why? He says, in India, we are supposed to love our cobras, but I do not. Is that true? They are dangerous. Your geese are like that. Your geese are like our cobras. Me, LOL. That must be funny to Canadians, because I actually understand this reference. Most Americans do not understand Canadian geese and how terrifying they are, and that they are very, very different to the geese we have here. Here in the United States, we will feed bread to the geese, pass by the geese and be like, oh, that's fun. And they might put their wings out or something and let you know to stay back. But the Canadian geese hiss. They have like barbed tongues. They chase you. I've done a video on this, actually. Feel free to check it out, where I was reacting to all this different Canadian geese interactions, where Canadians were getting attacked by Canadian geese. Like, straight up attacked. So, Canadians, it's okay if you don't love your geese. Just like, they are like the cobras. That's funny. That is funny. People do refer to them as cobra chickens. I've heard that too. That's funny. What else do we have here? Funny questions asked about Canada. Is snow creamy? This was from a Brazilian who asked me. This is funny because this is questions like from anyone outside of Canada, not just Americans. So it's kind of interesting for me to see what other countries around the world wonder about Canada, because I know what Americans wonder about. And this is not one of them. Is snow creamy? Because we get snow in the United States. That's so fascinating to think about regions of the world that don't get snow. It must be pretty magical to them in a way. And then you just want to know, like, how's it taste? How's it taste? How's it feel in your mouth? These are the important questions. It's like, is snow creamy? I would not say snow is creamy. No, it's kind of flaky, icy sometimes. And it melts in your mouth too quickly to really have much of a texture. It's kind of powdery. You could say, okay, I need to... I started just trying to... I visualized a Brazilian in front of me, and I was just like, this is what snow is. Man, what a magical moment that would be. I just got to act out. That's great. Funniest questions people have ever asked about Canada. I live in a border city. So like a city bordering the United States. Okay. More than once, I've had a tourist ask me where the snow was. Yes! Yes, I know where this is going. Because they wanted to go skiing in July. Like, y'all didn't notice it was sunny and 90 degrees in Michigan? Right. Right, literally, like, right next to Canada. You really thought it was going to be different driving 5 minutes across the bridge in Canada? Yes, though. Yes, this is absolutely confirming what I was trying to say earlier. Americans really think there's something magical going on in Canada where it can be sunny and warm in the United States, even in the north. But as soon as you walk over into Canada, it's an icy winter wonderland all the time. Living in igloos, making fires, ice fishing. I swear, Americans' perception of Canadian life, like, it's pretty crazy in a way, how off it can be. Not all Americans think this, but especially a lot of Americans do, and especially young kids. Like, I distinctly remember believing as a young kid, Canada was like the land of snowmen and snow and winter, and it's just like that all the time. I didn't think very deeply about it. I don't know, but this is very true. Until the early 80s, I would see one or two cars in the summer with American plates and skis on their roof. Yeah, one time I was in a car from Vermont. Vermont! It was a car from Vermont. To this day, I've always hoped they knew this and did it for a laugh. No. They thought they were going to go to Canada and ski, because it's always snowing. I think if you go, like, north enough in Canada, to, like, the Yukon or something, can't you pretty much find snow, like, a lot? Maybe they're going to Yukon. Maybe. What's some more funny questions people have asked about Canada? A guy from Brooklyn leaned in towards me and whispered, so, like, how does the weed thing work? I don't know if a lot of Americans are aware that marijuana is legal in Canada. I forget how recent that was, actually. It hasn't been that long, has it? But anyway, this guy from Brooklyn, he knew. So how does it work? How does the weed thing work? I looked at him, pointed to a nearby cop, and I said, go tell him you have a blunt. He'll pass you a lighter. Right? Because it's just legal, right? That is interesting. Although, as time has gone on, like a lot of different states in the United States have started to legalize weed or marijuana. So it's probably not mind blowing to so many Americans like these days, actually. Although it is still different for a lot of us, and the idea that you're not doing something wrong, because there's like a lot of Americans who are like literally in prison and jail for like possessing marijuana. So it's like really ingrained in us to be like very, very scared and wary of all that. Let's keep going. Funniest questions people have asked about Canada. I was on a tour in Ecuador when I said I was from Canada, and they asked if I knew about the crack mare. The crack mare? What? In a way, we all kind of knew Mr. Ford. Who's the crack mare? What? Is this? Should I know this? What? What? This is funny to me because I don't understand and I don't know what the crack mare is. If I knew about do Canadians know about the crack mare? I don't. Mr. Ford? Okay. Someone might have to explain that one to me. I don't know anything about that. All right. Some more funny questions about Canada. I have been told I speak good English for a Canadian. Oof. Ooh. Oh, no. Yeah. That's funny. I wonder if there's any... I feel like this must be someone from another part of the world. I think most Americans know Canadians speak English, and that there's French Canadians as well. Most Americans know about French Canada as well. But to be told that you speak good English for a Canadian, man, you speak good English. Can you speak Canadian to me, though? That is the question. What was asked by another tourist in the Bahamas, where do I buy my summer clothing? How do I heat my igloo? Yeah, you can't make this up. I really hope this wasn't an American saying that you speak good English for being Canadian. That would be... There are some things where I kind of give us a slide or a pass on, because I was an American who used to know nothing about Canada. Now I know some things. So I'd like to give us a little bit of leeway, but we should know Canadians speak English and French. We should know that. That is embarrassing if that was American. What else? I was at a sci-fi convention in the United States, and I must have said that magic word. Because the guy giving the passes said, what is the magic word? I was at a sci-fi convention in the United States. I must have said the magic word. What's the magic word for Canada, for Canadians? The guy giving out passes said, wow, all y'all really do say A. I don't know why this guy sounds like he's Southern or something. Wow. Or from Texas or something. All y'all really do say A, don't you? So the magic word is A. Right. I mean, it's true. We don't say A here in the United States. I've studied A. I've done videos on A even. What it means, how you use it. You typically use it on the end of a phrase to transform it into a question or to get someone to agree with you. Like, oh, it's warm outside today, eh? Warmer than ever, eh? It can be a question or a statement. Anyway, I understand these things. I can translate. But this American says, wow, y'all really do say A. He burst out into singing Blame Canada that's from the South Park movie, but didn't know many of the lyrics beyond 2 words. Blame Canada. Yes. I would have said, wow, you all really are obnoxious. Interesting. That would be a pretty funny response. I mean, if an American is being like disrespectful, I'm all for it, but I don't think the American was trying to be disrespectful. I don't know. Bursting into singing Blame Canada. That's a bit much. That is a little disrespectful. That's weird. But saying, oh, you say A. A lot of Americans really would like say that and be like amused and be interested and be like, that's not a stereotype, because I think a lot of Americans don't know what stereotypes are real or not. But Canadians saying and using a is true. Canadians do use that. And here in America, we really don't much at all. But we do understand what it means. So it's fun when we run into someone who says it. It's kind of fun. It's kind of a nice moment. Anyway, I think that's a pretty good place to stop. I think that's a good assortment of funny questions people have actually asked about Canada. I wasn't too shocked at anything in this, actually, except maybe the one about do Canadians speak English? That was embarrassing. That was not okay. The rest are like, I kind of get, like, the confusion, because I don't know why. I really don't know why. But a lot of us Americans are genuinely very uneducated and confused about Canadian culture, which is the main reason I really, really enjoy so much learning about it. And I enjoyed these very much today. This was pretty funny, pretty entertaining. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on these funny questions people have asked about Canada, or with your own personal story about a funny question someone actually asked about Canada. That'd be very funny to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and Canadian culture and learning things about Canada for the first time, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.